Hello, welcome to episode 7 of Three Dudes Brews. Three Dudes Brews is our liquid journey into the various perspectives of taste, our own appreciation for the various styles of craft beer, and our celebration for the good people that bring it to us, that pour these wonderful beers for us. Um, Joining me, my name is Buddy Thayer. I am one of your co-hosts. As you can tell by my rotund figure, I am quite the enthusiast of craft beer. Joining me down the river beer on this beautiful canoe, this beautiful ride, the Greekiest man I know down the other end of the table, leading us at point, Costas Sangaruli.
How's everybody doing? And to my right, the doctor, my left, Dr. Ed Pattenod here.
His other right. That's okay. How you doing,
It's
everybody?
been that kind of morning already, yeah.
Yeah, so as Costa said, my name is Ed Pattenod. We're here today with Morgan at Buttonwoods Brewing. Let me tell you, this is a great spot you got here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so glad to have you. So, everybody at home knows, if you've been following us, we've got our beers in front of us this morning. We're going to end up getting to see who is today's top cock. Currently, this guy right here, this little Greek guy over here, I'm being nice. He's got a dynasty going.
Yes.
So
The champ is in the house.
we're going to take him down today, folks.
He's going down.
He's going down.
going to win this one.
So
Yellow.
definitely. So, we'll get to the beers here in a minute. We'll start doing all that like we usually do. So, Morgan, I got to ask you, you guys used to be in Cranston.
Yes.
Why Providence?
That's a kind of serendipitous story. A lot of different intricate things happened that kind of led us to where we are. We started in Cranston, named after a neighborhood in Warwick where my parents live. We're also co-owners and operation. So it's just kind of been interesting. We travel further north. It started that back in 2022. We bought a brand new brew house. We were originally operating as a 3.5 barrel brew house. And for those of you who have homebrewed, imagine doing that about 50 times harder. And that's what we were doing. It was very, very much hands-on, hand stirred every single mash. Yeah, my back still is in recovery. But so we, brewed almost 1,000 batches off that system, and we were ready to upgrade to a 10-barrel system. We bought that in 2022. We went to the city of Cranston and says, hey, we want to add some more floor drains. And they said, no. So they wanted us to add an intricate wastewater system, which kind of made it 10 times more cost prohibitive than it should have been. After a lot of back and forth, they just kind of dug their feet and said no. And then we kind of got really an interesting opportunity fell in our lap. This space that we're in right now here in Providence was opening up. The former tenants were moving out. And a buddy of mine happened to be working in the building and said, hey, there's this opportunity. He was supposed to do the work in Cranston and said, you should talk to the landlords and see what you can make happen. And about 2 to 3 months of negotiations, we ended up here and spent 6 months sprinting to get this place open. Yeah, that's a quick turn. Oh, it was. Yeah, for sure. Morgan, I told you before off camera before the show that this was like one of my bucket lists of the bucket list of places I wanted the show to go to. I had the opportunity of when I was first turned on to this great beer. This is one of the first breweries I was taken to. It was your original brewery in Cranston. But every space that you're in, you notice it. You notice it here. Like Costas was mentioned, the old grandma tables, the old feel. Is this like a representation of like your personality, or is this like what's more trendy? Like in the community today? I think it's just a representation of all the people that have been and involved in what we do. It's kind of a chaotic amalgamation of all the personalities that have passed through the store and helped and worked with us on different things. Yeah, so you
think it's great.
Yeah.
It's beautiful too. Wood and all the different tables that remind me of like being at grandma's house. Right, all of these different coffee tables.
The old 1980s video game, right? Yeah, I grew up on Arkanoid. That's awesome, dude. I mean, that's kind of how it worked. Is we just kept inheriting more and more odds and ends things, and there's a blue chair off camera. We got that from the Warwick Library.
Nice.
That's from an old customer of ours. I traded him 3 cases of beer for it.
Good deal.
Yeah. He was like, "You want it?" I was like, "You sure? What do you want for it?" He's like, "Beer." How much? I don't know.
Listen,
So I gave him 3 cases, and he was like, "Cool."
I think the world would be a much better place if we used beer as a currency.
Yeah.
I'd definitely be a lot happier. But yeah, I'm digging the chairs. Like I said, you'll see some pictures, of these. But some of these older, like the vinyl ones over there, I'm looking at. There's a red chair. There's like a little gray 2-seater. I'm digging them though because it's like you're hanging out in somebody's garage,
Right.
Yeah.
talking, having beers, drinking, just hanging out.
Nothing matches. And
Nah,
that's the best part.
It's
honestly.
it's like.
Like I said, it's very eclectic.
Yeah.
Very,
Some of them look out of the 1970s or 80s. Some of them look like,
That's it.
years
It's like
ago,
it's like my
pretty,
first
pretty
apartment.
sure my grandparents had some of these. And that's awesome.
They probably did because we did pick them up off the side of the road. A lot of these things, so
Nice.
they might be your grandparents.
All right, so
I don't know where they live.
Buddy's already got a beer in hand.
Yeah, speaking of beer,
Why-
you
why-
guys said beer. I'm like,
Why
what's
am
my
I
beer?
not surprised? Buddy's already got the first beer in
It's
hand.
beautiful, dude.
So
I haven't sipped it yet.
you got to check these things out. I mean, first off, the glassware. Let me tell you, fantastic. But look at the color on this.
Oh,
Look at this.
Yeah, and this is not going to be easy.
that is
No.
mighty delicious.
Every single one of these is
I recognize
colors.
almost immediately.
So
Solid.
the first thing Morgan said was that he was not making this easy on us, folks. And let me tell you,
Oh God, that's good.
that's the evil streak in him. I can tell he's got this little mischievous look in his eyes.
Mischievous. I wouldn't say
Yeah,
evil.
yeah.
Like it's more of like a. I'm here playing the game with you,
Yeah.
but also I want to make it as entertaining for me to watch.
So it's like Squid Games for him.
Oh, cue the Squid Game music.
He's the old guy.
The old guy.
Oh, this is good.
So how exactly did you get started in brewing?
So my story goes back to my college days. When I graduated, basically my senior year of college, I was one of those. I graduated towards the end of the economic downturn from the housing crisis. No jobs, no opportunities. 22-year-old kid with a marketing degree, basically the most generic degree you can get. Nothing against business majors. It's just, it doesn't really point you in a direction.
Yeah.
So I was kind of hopeless, lost working in the restaurant industry. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to save money. I'm going to make some beer at home. Fun fact about making beer at home, you do not save money. Not if you catch the home brewing bug. So, yeah. So I started brewing in my apartment in Richmond, Virginia. And it just caught on before I knew it. Before my first batch was done, I brewed another batch. And so like just kind of ran with it, kept going. And by the time my third batch was brewed, I bottled my first batch and drank it, and I was
How'd it turn out?
I think it was great. I would really love a time machine to try it.
No, I don't.
But yeah, it was super. I remember it was a honey pilsner. Ended up at like 8%, and it.
And what year abouts did you draft? Did you do your first beer? That
would have been 2011.
Okay, so all right. When I first started drinking beers, which was many years ago, the thought of like fruit in beer was like a no-no.
Yeah,
Something that we passed over.
It was reserved for wheat beer.
Right.
Right.
Or for like your lesser beer drinkers. What are your thoughts on adding fruit to beer? Is it something that's acceptable nowadays?
I mean, it's very much acceptable. It's kind of it's one of those. It's might be hitting the jumping the shark phase, but I think appropriately placed beer and appropriately placed fruit in a beer is great. Like I think like it's a good tool to have in
Like
your,
sours?
sours. Like you can
Wheat
put.
beer.
We've done IPAs with them that turned out great. It's kind of like what I kind of refer to as like I said, it's a tool in your belt, something to utilize and add where appropriate. We actually just got a hop oil called Maui Nelson, which is just like the oils from Nelson hops that are infused with some kind of like pineapple flavoring additive.
Sounds fancy.
I'm not even sure what they use to make it taste like pineapple, but it's got this like, we just added it to a beer that we're packaging next week, and it's got this pineapple skin note that you don't normally get from Nelson. So like stuff like that. It's like it's additive. It's not supposed to be, when you order a pineapple beer, it shouldn't be okay, I could have just ordered a pint of pineapple juice and added vodka.
Yeah.
Like,
There's definitely a time and place for it all. I mean, I had a blueberry last night that was fantastic. And it actually, they threw whole blueberries in there. Okay.
in the glass?
I get it. Yeah, in the glass.
What kind of
It's very aesthetic.
kind of beer were you?
It was a wheat beer. It was a
What
wheat
year
beer.
was it?
What year was? Yeah.
Sorry, I always.
Huh?
Well, you had it. So the thing I've always noticed with places that put blueberries in them, they generally are brew pubs that opened up in the 90s.
Okay. I got you now.
Nothing against it. I
got
appreciate
you
the trend, but it's
and
the only
that's
people that still do it are very much breweries that existed in the 90s.
it's great for the, I guess, visual. To me, they kind of get in the way, and I'm like,
So you accidentally swallow one and choke.
right. You don't need it. I mean, the beer was great without it, so it's like, you guys save yourself some money on the blueberries.
It's a good one.
You'll be okay. Well, that's just it.
Visually, it's appealing.
Yeah.
There's a little blueberries, dancing on the.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It wouldn't turn me off from ordering it again. I'll tell you that. But it's like, save yourself a couple bucks.
Yeah. So
Spend
what's your favorite styles of beer to brew?
Favorite style.
And if you had a choice to drink, what would you be drinking right now?
So my favorite beer, the one that I continuously religiously go back to whenever we have it and only drink that when it's on, is our Bohemian Pilsner. That is a single decocted Czech style Pilsner. So it's just, there's something about the combination of like the yeast, the decoction and like the caramelization of the malt from decoction, the Saz hops. It's just this like, it's one of my favorite beers. And most of the time when I get a beer from a brewery that has a Czech Pilsner, I know I'm going to like it. There's just some magic in all of those combinations.
See, I always think of it as like kind of like a litmus test for the brewery. If you got a Czech Pilsner on the menu, I go up there and I get it. If you nailed it, I know we're good.
Yeah.
If you didn't, I'm not holding out a lot of hope.
Yeah. I would also say like a Vienna or like some of the
Vienna lager.
So it's funny. I go the opposite direction. When I go to a brewery, the first thing I try is their IPA, because what with the proliferation of IPAs and how much people kind of gravitate towards them, it's going to be the thing you brew the most. It's the one you have the most reps on. You're going to be. It should be your best beer because of the popularity of the style. And so, and you go up and try where they're more frequently brewed IPAs, and it's not up to snuff. You kind of get a litmus test of like, all right, well, they could do other things well, but in this market, there's not a lot of people who don't focus and do really good IPAs anymore.
So, the three of us, we all have different favorite styles. We all gravitate towards certain ones. Excuse me. I'm not a huge IPA fan. Like I'll drink an IPA, but if I'm knocking you over the head with the amount of hops we threw in this thing, and that's all I taste is a pine tree, I don't like it.
Yeah,
that's
for
me.
sure.
That's me. Now,
But there's like there's so many variations that you can do with an IPA. It's not just about like that piney flavor. You can get like a citrus flavor. You can get like a lot of people gravitate towards what is it that starts with them?
Mosaic,
Mosaic, or Citra. But there's so many other hops that are used.
That's just it.
It could be used,
It could be used, but they're not.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. I'm not against hops. I mean, I love beer. Not against hops. But it's when you're getting the same thing over and over, and
You get a Citra. You get a Citra.
yeah, everybody gets a Citra.
Plus, does not like Citra.
It was, but there was a period of time where it was like everybody was trying to out hop the other.
Yeah.
So do you think IPAs are going to start swinging the other way, or do you think they're here to stay forever?
I think IPAs have always been here. I think the one thing we have to keep in mind is the grandfather of all New England IPAs turned 21 last year or 2 years ago. So the New England IPA has been around for long enough to drink. IPA trend, The Alchemist.
Oh yeah.
Awesome. Heady Topper is 21 or 22 years old.
We were just talking about that last night.
And that's kind of like, I've gotten a little pushback when I've said this, but I firmly believe that because of the success of Alchemist, it kind of turned brands and breweries on, such as like Treehouse and Trillium, to pursue a similar vein of IPA style. There was so much lore around Heady Topper, so like I think it built that up. So I don't think it's going away. I think what it has happened is that tastes are shifting. There's like a life cycle of the craft beer drinker where you kind of peak at the IPA and then you start drifting. You start, for me it was Belgians into stouts, into IPAs, and then into lagers and farmhouses, and kind of go from there. So it kind of all depends where you're at in the cycle. So it rotates. I come back every so often. I like go into a lager phase, then I go to an IPA phase, then I go to stout phase. So I go through that circle like once a year.
I think everybody does. I mean, everybody gets that zone, where this is what I'm drinking right now, and I'm finding different ones that I like. So, go back to the Alchemist and Heady Topper, though. Do you think it's overrated?
No.
I think it had its time, and I still think it's a great beer. I think it's actually appropriately rated now.
Okay.
And when it first came out, it was appropriately rated, and then somewhere in the middle, it got kind of this god status.
Yeah.
That was totally unnecessary.
Yep.
But now it's back to where, because when I first had it, it was like, holy crap, this is a revolution.
Right.
Exactly. Incredible.
It became like the holy grail.
It was the holy
craft
grail.
Beer drinkers, right?
What you don't understand about the Alchemist is, dude, like I had a friend like 10, 15 years ago, probably 15, probably more. And he was a big craft brew guy. He used to brew his own stuff. He used to drive up to Vermont. There was special times where the Alchemist would only be in certain spots, and you had to predict where they were going to be and find the Alchemist like the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
So that's how special Heady Topper was at one time. The Alchemist was.
And that's probably what built it up, though.
Like years later, I took a road trip with this guy down the end, and we went up to the Alchemist in Vermont, the new brewery that they built. It was beautiful. It was like walking into the Mecca, dude. Like, oh my God, I'm finally here.
You guys can't tell. Buddy likes Alchemist.
I like Alchemist.
Go right there.
I liked Heady Topper, but I fell in love with their Crusher, which was an 8%. It had little chips in it, like little.
The
yeast floaties. So delicious, so amazing. But yeah, what up, dude? They used to be like going to find the Holy Grail. It was a special.
Yeah.
That's why maybe that's so special.
Well, you could also go to the brewery back then too, and you had to time it just right on a Friday afternoon.
Right.
The first time I went to, this is the original second spot, I should say. They had 7 cases left when we got there at 3 p.m. on Friday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Or like standing in
That's
line.
crazy. Yeah.
Standing in line for beer. I've had to sit in line for 2 hours in the cold for beer. You just don't do that anymore.
No.
Like going to like Trillium, their original spot.
I think it's because there's so many options now. You don't have to.
Right, exactly.
You don't have to. You don't have to stand online and sit there for 2 hours in the freezing cold to get a good craft beer anymore.
But it's
I mean,
it's so worth it.
What do you think? Are there any trends that you see coming in the future in the craft business that are good, and are there any that you foresee that might be disturbing? People have talked about the downturn, and like there's obviously several breweries that have closed recently, but then several breweries that open up.
You open up.
So is there anything that you see that you're like, okay, this is awesome, this is great that this is happening, and then there's some other ones that are like, this has kind of got me a little worried.
I think it's all the negative stuff is also, as long as it's properly like taken and used correctly, can also be a positive. Like there's gonna be a consolidation. I remember Sam Calgione like 10, 15 years ago banging the hammer. There's gonna be a bloodbath. We're all gonna like shudder, and like you gotta watch out. And like, I'm not beating that same drum, but I am going to say that we're gonna see something similar. We're gonna see not a big drop. Like, so we had like 60 less breweries open than closed last year. That isn't as dramatic as you think when you consider there's just shy of 10,000 breweries in the U.S.
Right.
Rhode Island has I think we've had only a smattering of closings, and the interesting part is that those closings have turned into a reopening.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's not so much the concern of there's not enough room in the market. There's plenty of room in the market. We're doing this thing where we're fighting over an 18%, like I think it's even less than that, 15% share of the pie when, there's another 85% left.
Right.
We have that room to grow and we have that capacity. And I think there's a shift towards local for that same reason. Is like, you can grow in your own home market, but as soon as you get out of the market, it's competitive because no one knows who you are.
Yeah.
So if you're able to focus in and do the right things in your own market, that's where you should be putting your energy. And I think that also means that you have to hone in on things that people want instead of just being like 100% IPA. You have to have more offerings for more people to make more people happy.
So more of a
Variety. Yeah.
Variety.
Right. So, well, speaking of variety, I noticed on that menu you got 15 beers. Right. Some of them are like all-time favorite, like that Trick or Treat is amazing. But of those beers, how many are of those 15? How many are regulars, and how many rotate in and out, and how many others do you have that rotate in and out of that?
Of that menu, there are at this moment 3 regulars, 3 year rounds. There's Kinetic, Pilsner, and Object Permanence. Everything else rotates. We have somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 lagers that we rotate through. And kind of depends on the year. Like some of them could see the entire calendar if people are as excited about them as we've seen. And sometimes maybe we're only going to get 8 or 10 out of them this year if it's not as fast moving. So it really depends on what I feel like brewing and what people are drinking.
Yeah.
Got to merge those two because I still want to drink the beer we have on tap.
Well, of course. And it's we were talking about the marketplace a minute ago, and it's one of those things where, you got to try to lure people in. You got to bring them in. You got to stay relevant in the marketplace.
Social media is
social media,
big factor in that.
Now, being Rhode Island, and Rhode Islanders the way they are, more than 15 minutes is a commute. So exactly. So how do you bring in like the folks from South County? And further, how do you
Massachusetts?
Oh, Massachusetts. How do you bring them in?
How do you draw them in?
But even just like I said, just Rhode Islanders, because like I said, nobody wants to drive. So many people don't know about the other ones or haven't had the other ones because they don't want to drive. So it's like, what do you do to bring them in?
Nothing. I know that's not the answer you expected, but honestly, like, where
answer?
I would love for the people outside of Providence to come, but this is my backyard. The people who are going to come here and the people that are going to help me pay my rent are the people that live around the corner, the people that hang out here all the time. The people that we forge relationships with that come in we have a plethora of regulars that are, when they're coming, what day they're coming. And, it's great. It's cheers. You have that camaraderie and you have those shared experiences with these people. So I want people from Framingham, Massachusetts to show up, but I want my regular who shows up at 4 p.m. every Thursday to show up at 4 p.m. every Thursday.
Yeah.
Because they're, I know that business is there and I know that those people are coming in and excited to be here and share like their life with us and be part of the community. So those people are what keep us going.
Nice. So, Buddy mentioned you got, 15 beers on tap. Oh my God. How many of those are in cans right now?
Of the 15, I think there's only like 2 or 3 that we are out of cans on.
And wow, those are also, you can find those in liquor stores, right?
Not all of them. So we do keep a decent portion of those. I think it's about 40% of the draft. The board is in-house only stuff. And part of that's because the market's not there for people.
It's what they're buying.
Yeah. I could ship 10 cases to my distributor of certain brands, but those 10 cases, because of the brand, aren't going to sell in distro. They're going to sell really well in this tap room because people enjoy it. They know it. They expect it. It's part of who we are. But once you get outside of a radius of here, people are like, I don't know what that is, and I'm not going to spend 14, 15, 16, 18, $22 on a 4-pack.
It's a gamble when you go to the store and you don't know.
Yeah. Exactly.
What's in the can, what it's going to taste like. So if I come here and I try it and then I say, okay, this is great and this is coming home.
Now,
Like hip hop is dead. I've seen that in cans, and I bought that right away because I knew exactly.
How many times have you gone to the store?
Beautiful double IPA. Right?
You might look at the can art and you might look at the description. And
Well, that sells my wife every time.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Every single time.
the can looks awesome. The description sounds amazing. Then you get it home and you're like, I want to speak to a manager because this doesn't add up to in what the label says is not what's in the can. And you're like, wait a second, it's just I just blew $20 on this. And you're like,
well, that's just it. I mean, all our money is, we've got our earmarked budget for our craft beers, and we know what we're looking to spend, and it's a gamble. All of a sudden now I'm going to drop down almost $20 on a 4-pack, and I've never had it. I've never been there. So again, though, that's a great reason why you need to come down to these places, because you can get a taste.
Try it before you
buy it, because and I've noticed too that a lot of the distribution, it's the IPAs. Yeah. Because that's the market.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you want to try something other than the IPA from you guys or anybody else, get to the tap rooms.
Yeah.
Come to these places. Get out of your comfort zone. Take a road trip on the weekend. Go try something new. But like you said, though, it's that loyalty that's really going to drive and keep you alive.
Yep. Right.
And we do have other things in distro, like the two brands we distro the most are Object Permanence and Pilsner.
Yeah.
And the thing about the Pilsner brand is that you can walk in any craft beer bar and there's 12, 20, 18 taps. You're going to find, no matter what, tops 2 Pilsners.
Mm-hmm.
You find 5 to 18 IPAs all IPAs.
Yeah.
And it's so that there's room in that side of the market, but that Pilsner category is hyper limited to so that's why it's like easier to find something like Dark Pilsner or lagers here, because a lot of bar managers aren't ready to take the risk on something like a lager to sit on tap and hope that people recognize and drink it.
Yeah.
Cost analysis.
You got the big box, out there. So it's like the folks that are drinking just lagers, usually have, their favorites, and they're going to that. And it's, please God, not be a Bud Light.
That's the thing is,
Bud Light's got its time and place. Okay. I don't want to hear the hate mail coming, but
yeah, Bud Heavy only, please.
So you guys have a kitchen here, right?
We do.
You guys have food on premise?
Yeah. So the camera can't see it, but right now we have the wood fire oven getting warmed up. Ray, one of our so the kitchen is a separate business from us, and they're open most hours that we're open. So we have a wood fire pizza oven. We have an entire galley kitchen in the back. Steph, the owner of Screaming Unicorn, is wonderful. Her resume's stellar. Like, if you look at it, you're like, shit, how the hell did you find her? And I'm like, I have no idea.
Lucky. Got lucky.
Favorite pizza.
So yeah, I've looked at the menu for Screaming Unicorn, and let me tell you, we're definitely coming down one night and getting some food, getting some beers, and it's been fantastic. So I mean, it's great that you guys have it, because not everybody does. There's a lot of places that don't have a food option.
Right.
So, folks, it's like, my wife, for example, doesn't drink. So if she's coming with me, I need a reason to bring her, because she's like, I want to go. I don't drink. Well, there's food.
What's in it for me?
There's something to eat. So we can come and we can sit down. She can have a Coke or whatever, and get some food, and I can have my beers.
And that's the thing is, like, there are times where we'll go to a brewery and you're drinking and you're hungry, and now you're like, well, there's no food. There's no food truck. So it's like, okay.
Yeah, I never
but we had that problem.
Oh, man.
We got to go.
That's always been the hardest. That was the hardest part before we had Screaming Unicorn working with us is, I love most of the food trucks we work with. It's just that you'd schedule them and the food truck breaks or someone's sick or, it became such a
February.
It's February. And it's like, you love the ones that stuck it out and kept working with you despite the weather, the climate, whatever happened. But like, there was only so many times you could bring them out and
have cancel. Yeah. Something happens.
So it's
look
tough.
forward to that shit.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's just it. I mean, we were going from brewery to brewery. What we had, like four or five that night.
Yep.
And we're like, oh, great, we'll have some food.
Yeah, we're dying for some food.
Everywhere we went, there was like, oh, the food truck was supposed to be here. Nothing here.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys you doing some tacos or whatever. Oh, you guys are sold out. What the hell?
Yeah. I can't wait to go here and have this beer and then eat off of that food truck. And then you go there and there's no food, nothing.
Yeah. That was also the tough part, because food culture, especially food truck culture for a while, was like the hype, the idea was that you make good enough food, you sell out. And it was like, you know, I understand because it builds like demand, but at a certain point, people are not going to want to come to try the food if you're always sold out.
Right.
And it was just tough because it was like, you know, and there's some legit places that like, no matter how much they prep, they'd sell out. And good for them. That means the food is quality and you know, people were willing to do it, or, you know, but there were some places that were like, you know, we're going to just prepare a little bit less so we do sell out.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not helping anyone.
No, exactly.
No, that's you're shooting yourself in the foot at that point, you know. But it's also it I don't want to say it looks bad, but it does look bad.
It does.
Like,
Yeah.
If I'm coming here and I'm expecting a food truck, you know, whatever to be here, right? And then I get here or they're not here, then I'm like, all right, well, this was going to be like a destination. Like this is a thing that we were doing. We're specifically coming for the beer and the fries, pizza, sandwiches, whatever truck might be or whatever. And you get here and you're like, oh, it already, you know, kind of rains on your parade before you even start. So now you're like, okay, well, I'm not going to spend as much time here.
Right.
And maybe I should go somewhere else.
Yep.
Where there's going to be some food.
Yeah.
So it's
tough. Like, you know, it's a tough, food business is tough.
Yeah.
Like working with Screaming Unicorns for as long as we have, it's, you know, it's feast or famine sometimes.
Right.
And there are days where, like, you know, we open up at, say, just afternoon, like 1, 2 o'clock, and we're not going to see anyone until 4 or 5 o'clock. So they're sitting there like,
that's the hard part.
Especially this time of year. But then the dinner crowd comes in and they, you know, makes it worth it them to show up and be here. But it's like, it's tough because
what do you do to change that noon to 4 period when there's nobody coming in?
Right.
What do you do as an owner and an operator to draw in people in that window when nobody's coming in? That's tough because who's going out at noontime to you know, really time it on and have
right,
you know,
and it should be a lunch crowd, and it's trying to tap into that, and that's those are discussions that we have internally, and like how do we draw people in? And, you know, there's no secret yet. It's one of those like you build it. If you build it, they will come.
Yeah, it's also a difficult time of year. I mean, we're talking about mid-January, and it's cold, and you know, people don't want to leave the house, and people are doing dry January. I don't understand that.
I you know, this year I haven't really noticed much. It could be the new location and shift and demographic, but I haven't seen the same vigor that I usually see with dry January. Last year was like on Instagram, I'd be like, someone was like, all right, this is what I'm drinking for dry January, like so on and so forth. And this year it's like, I need a drink.
Yeah. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth?
And it's like, okay, I don't know what this means yet, but I support it.
Yeah.
I did dry February last year in preparation for all the drinking I would be doing in March for like Labrewski, like I said. And by the end of the month, it was like, all right, we need beer. But it doesn't really do me any justice because it just means I'm going to drink more beer to make up for the beer that I didn't have in February and March. So I don't know.
So you're saying that you would you go nothing in February and you're doubling down in March?
No, I'm not doing any of that anymore because that was a bad idea. Because I went even lower your tolerance. You got to make up for it.
I don't know. You know,
do not condone over drinking.
No,
but drink.
But it's a professional, so drink responsibly. But let me tell you, speaking of that, if you notice, his glasses are all empty, and they've been empty for like the last 5 minutes at least. So he's like remembering right now. Oh God, that used to be in my glass.
Muscle memory.
Beer still
telling you,
it's these beers.
You know, unbelievable.
Do you want me to give you the answers?
Oh,
wow.
Yep.
Wow.
It's come to that,
we're in between you guys.
It's come to that. So, you know, I gotta ask you though. So, you know, we often talk about you know what everybody's favorite style is. You know what they gravitate toward. What is the one beer you hate to drink?
Not necessarily a brand, but maybe like
no. Yeah.
You could throw somebody under the bus. I don't care.
No, that's not my style. If there aren't any buses, I can throw anyone under. I mean, I could, but I prefer not to.
Big brands. We can beat them up all day.
I think I get a lot of flack internally for this because my staff loves them. I just heavily fruited sours. I hate them. And nothing against it. It's just one of those like when I first got into the market, like brewing gozas, like light fruit additions, that was like the thing, and they were just like light, quaffable, easy drinking, slightly tart beers, and now they're fruit bombs.
Turn your face inside out, kind of a.
Well, not even turn your face out, because I love sour. I eat an entire bag of Sour Patch Kids when I buy it in like 20 minutes. So I love sour. That's not the issue. The issue is that like I order a sour and it's like, this is just sugar. This is like 97% strawberry puree and 3% beer, and like nothing against that, but it just, to use a term I use a lot, the style jumped the shark.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you get those lactose-ridden ones, you get vanilla bean, you get like so much fruit thrown in there that there's the semblance of beer is gone.
It's unrecognizable as a beer anymore. Exactly.
You're pushing the fringe on that.
Yeah.
It's almost no longer a beer.
Which I mean, I don't even say that. I wouldn't even say that it's not a beer, because it is a beer. Like I constantly defend like farmhouse and fruited and like sours, like spontaneous stuff. I love all that stuff. I love creeks, framboise. Like all of these things, it's just that specific style. It's just, at first I was like, oh, this is
great.
And then I had more of them, and I'm just like, this is just sugar.
Yeah.
And I'm not a sweets guy, which is also probably my.
Well, I am, but not in my beers though. Cause I mean, I find, that if I'm drinking too much sugary, alcohols and everything, you start to feel sick. At least I do. It starts to make me just not good.
Yeah. Well, I'll try to balance it out with, I'll have a sour, but then I might have, like a wheat beer or on a flight, do different styles so that you're not killing yourself drinking one particular style, and you're not having 4 different sours, and then at the end you're just all sugared out and kind of sitting in the corner like,
Yeah. I like this. We have them on the menu. Like we'll always have one on the menu. My staff loves them and the customers love them. They sell really well. It's just, for me, it's a style that went a little too far too quickly. It cursed itself. It flew too close to the sun for me.
Do you think the sour style is heading in the same direction as the DIPA style, where it's just becoming oversaturated? It's becoming super popular. Everybody's doing it. And is the sour now replacing the double IPA?
I don't think so.
Over marketed and overproduced. Beer.
It's one of those things that I'm actually seeing less of them. Like that's a conversation I have with our distributors. Like there's less heavily fruited sours in the market than there was, and I think it's just
so it was like a course correction. We're kind of
so like I'd love to go back to the days when
balance in the force.
People used to just do like, we have a goza, there's sea salt and like a kiss of what raspberry in it.
Yeah. Well, that's like, so 2 of my favorite sours. Sequence Ale.
Yes.
Love that. Absolutely love that. And yours. And I'm not saying it because you're sitting next to me. I'm not kidding. I came in. I grabbed, excuse me, guys. Pardon my reach. I came in here. I grabbed the 3 all the way. And I grabbed your sour. And let me tell you, that I love your sour. Love your sour. I mean, this is fantastic too. And I got to ask you, how did this come about? You guys, if you see this, okay. 3 all the
gag
way.
Is, right?
And if you're from Rhode Island, you know what 3 all the way is. If you're not, folks, it's a mutant hot dog. And it's local to this area.
It's not a hot dog.
It's a hot wiener.
It's a wiener.
It's a hot wiener. But if you say hot wiener outside of this area, nobody knows what the hell you're talking about. So how did this come to be?
So you'll see the logo underneath, Little Lager.
Yep.
Little Lager is a bar based out of St. Louis, Missouri.
Nice.
Absolutely wonderful people. They are doing a 24-seat bar that is all lagers, all Lucre faucets. And so they're just doing some really cool things. And in a lager city, because, Budweiser's technically based out of there. So we got together, and the first night, Manny, one of the owners, he flew into TF Green and went to, oh God, I'm not going to remember the spot off the top of my head. He went to a space that it wasn't a Onlyville. It was like a space in Warwick. I want to say it's like Galaxy something.
Yeah.
And they sat down, ordered some food, and the woman who was waiting on him, like they were like, "What the hell is a hot wiener?" Like, I just got to know this. Like, am I going to pay extra? Am I going to get arrested by a cop for soliciting? Like, what's going on here?
It's like, it's like the ZJ. If you have to ask, you can't afford it.
I wish I could give you a deal here, but my pimp's a real ball-ache. You know what I mean? So it's $10 for a BJ, $12 for an HJ, $15 for a ZJ.
What's a ZJ?
If you have to ask, big man, you can't afford it.
I got to put out.
So yeah, they were like, "This is crazy," and she's like, "You've never heard?" Like, gave him like, I think they only had one each, but yeah, it was. He was obsessed with the concept, and it was like, we ended up. No, we didn't end up ordering them. We got, what did we get? We got something else for sandwiches. Italian grinders.
Grinders case.
So but they love the concept of 3 all the way. It's like, this is ridiculous. Like, we have to, do this, and so. For the photo, that's actually my hand holding 3 all the way.
That's fantastic. Beautiful. Let me show that again. So
Rhode Islander, right?
We I've lived all over the country, and I used to get so much hell because I'd be like, "Hey, I'm going back home for a week or two, and I can't wait to have my hot wieners." And of course, insert joke here. Yeah. I would get the looks, and they'd be like, "What the hell are you having? What, like you said, dude, am I going to get picked up for solicitation?" So it's just one of those things. But I had to talk about it because I just thought, I thought that was awesome. And folks, if you haven't had it, it does not taste like
absolutely not.
Okay,
it's a joke. It has nothing to do.
Just do it.
And naturally, because this beer existed, we had our friends from Jersey, Icarus Brewing, show up. Nice. They love the beer, 3 all the way, and they were like, "We're going to name our collab Wet Mats," because they're Jersey Italians.
Yes.
Nice. So I was like, love it. I fought them tooth and nail on that one, and I clearly lost.
So who does your can?
So my brother does some of the photography. So it's a slew of different people. If you go down, so half of them are my brother, half of them are this guy, Frank Gaspar, based out of Warwick. I've done some of them. I see Kinetic was me.
There's everybody from Warwick.
This guy, Joe. Frank Gaspar.
Yeah. Our production guy is back there just nodding away every time we mention Warwick. So, but it's fantastic can art. Like I said, and it's one of those things where you got to be cognizant of it because it does sell. It helps sell the product.
Yep.
My wife will grab anything that she thinks looks nice. And I'm like, "No, dear, I don't like a triple IPA." So.
But the label's cool.
Cool. It's fantastic. We've seen some really good ones. And it's, it's something you got to do these days. So we're getting ready to wrap things up here a little bit.
Yeah.
I want to, before we get to the scoring here, I'm going to play a little word association.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, boy. Okay, because I love doing this because I can't wait. So, little word association. First thing that pops in your eye, and we're going to start off with the word Providence.
To hot wieners, honestly, just to just the closest association in that.
Jet.
Fucking football.
Washington.
My boys.
All right. Oak.
Barrels.
Samurai.
Ooh, swords.
Nice. All right.
We'll have to bust out my
answers.
We have a bunch of odds and ends swords around here. Maybe I'll bust out.
Yeah.
What could possibly go wrong?
Nothing's going
wrong.
Well,
none of them are sharp. I'm not crazy.
Beer and swords. Nothing's ever going to go wrong.
Beer on mine.
So nothing's going to go wrong. All right, so I think it's time to get to scoring, and we'll find out who today's top cock is.
Dude, this was a tough one.
This is a.
I said a drink. I'm like, I know this one, and then I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, you go to the next, and you're like,
oh no,
yeah.
And then I got so many crossed out.
Let me tell you, he you think you know your palate until this guy starts throwing random beers in front of you.
They were all yellow.
It was color, clarity, and common threads. I was like, look, I know You know, obviously I know my beers really well because they're all my babies. But like, I'm like, okay, so that beer is gonna have that common thread. That beer's gonna have that common thread, and that beer's gonna have that common thread. So if I put all 4 of them in front of you guys, you're screwed. You really fucked with me. And I'm really excited to see
let me tell you. So this is probably one of the hardest we've done, I think, to date. The tour. He's this guy. Okay.
All right. So much confidence.
So we'll start with number 1 was
So one on the left, Kinetic Pale Ale.
Kinetic.
Yeah.
All right. We all got that, buddy.
I figured that was going to be the easiest one.
All right.
Yeah.
The next one.
So that would be number 2, right?
Number 2.
I'm going to go ahead and say the Belgian wheat beer.
No, I'm saying Buttonwoods Lager.
I said Buttonwoods Lager also.
Ding ding. Son of a bitch.
Damn.
It was Ghost Leopard.
Damn, which means already we've got 2 wrong.
Do you want to cheat? I can give you.
I can't. I can't. No, I can't take you. Oh, God. All right. So number 3.
Modern Pills.
Modern Pills.
Modern Pills.
Yeah. All right.
Yep. And okay. So, like we said,
Hold on.
did you seriously get all 4?
Hold on. Buttonless.
No.
He's waiting for his.
No. Did you seriously get?
4 aces, baby.
Another one? No, we don't accept the ballot. No, it's fake news right here, folks. No. All right, so yeah, I got 1.
I'm sorry if
I think, buddy, but we both got 1.
I get 2. No,
I got 2.
I get 2.
I seriously got 1. I got the Kinetic, and then after that,
I get 2.
All switched around.
And then I got the Buttonwoods Lager and the Ghost Leopard mix.
Let me tell you, when he said it was going to be tough today, he wasn't kidding.
Freaking guy.
Damn. Let me tell you, I did second guess a lot. I went back and forth. Listen, I'm about 2 seconds away from kicking your ass.
Not a beer.
Not a beer, apparently. Bitch. Let me tell you, yeah.
Freakiest man I know.
Freakiest man I know. I can't believe this, folks. 4 in a row. So
I can't read you, dude. So
I gotta.
You got it.
I gotta.
Don't hurt you.
I gotta do it. Oh, why is it I'm always handing you the cock?
Nothing said, dude. I got no problem.
No. Get your hand out. It's yours. I'm giving it back to you.
Oh.
And here's now again the
tough
cock.
jack.
I can't. We're gonna have to bribe
I'd
the
like to
next
thank
one.
my mom and my dad.
Yeah, I think the next episode we're gonna have to bribe somebody.
Rick says
Yes, Buddy does drink his really fast.
I like to enjoy them. I just dive head first and then
they just went.
I look at them and I'm like, I gotta stop drinking these beers. They're right in front of me. I don't know what it is.
You gotta get black glasses so you don't even know at all what they look
That
like.
might be best.
Oh,
That'll really screw you.
That'd really be messed up. So before we wrap things up, Morgan, why don't you tell the folks where you're actually at? What's the address here?
This is 50 Sims Ave. We are located on the west side of the building. It's a big horseshoe. You'll see the sign on Sims Ave. It's 1 block long, so you can't really miss a black sign that says Screaming Unicorn and Buttonwoods. And then our roll-up door, which is our main entrance, has a nice sign outside that says, "Hello, my name is Buttonwoods," when we're open. We're working on more signage. There's also the painted mural on the other side behind us that says Brew. Right below the Brew, there's a door you can enter right over there. Lots of entrances. We'll work on signage, I promise.
So I have a question. Do you have anything in the works as far as like anything special? Like I know that we have the Beer Fest coming up next week. So we're actually filming. This is in mid-January. So we have the Brew Fest coming up next week. Are you bringing anything special, or is
I think I forgot to answer their email, so I don't know if we're going. I have to text Matt Gray to see if I did ever get back to him about it. It's been a busy year.
Yeah, you guys have been you guys have been doing a lot. With your move and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, to get up and running.
Right. And all these beers, all these beautiful beers.
Yeah, you guys have hit the ground running. Fantastic, amazing beers on tap, and you got a wide variety, and they're all great. Are you doing any? I know that like a lot of the breweries are doing bottles, like special, farmhouse ales. They're doing barley wine in a lot of places. are doing that, and they're also doing mug clubs.
So we've been doing special bottles for a while. We have a couple of big releases that we're trying to line 2 or 3 more up, and so we're almost there. And but they so we have a barley wine, we have we have 2 imperial stouts that are just in the final phases of getting packaged. We have our house saison, which is always in bottles. We have a gin barrel aged saison made with Vermont honey with Bar Hill. So we have a bunch of different bottle releases that we're kind of slowly trying to sprinkle throughout the year.
But he's like, when am I coming back?
Keep your eye on social media. We specifically use Instagram, and it funnels to Facebook. I apologize to anyone who's ever messaged us on Facebook. I haven't looked at it in 4 years.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. now, buddy, understand.
Yeah.
No, I understand.
Trying to distance myself from social media. A lot of information being funneled in everyone's direction. So I got enough on my plate. I don't need to be told how to think. Not
when we're on social media and we're looking, and it's like, okay, there's something new being released.
Yeah, that's usually what it is.
Especially like the whole bottle niche. It's one of those things where things get put into a bottle, so it's got to be special because it's not in a can, right? So you're like, okay, hopefully it's supposed to be something unique, different, and special, and something that you're not actually going to
as advertised.
Yeah, as advertised, and it's not something that like, okay, you're just gonna get like a whole case or a 4-pack or whatever. Yeah. This is something unique,
one special,
something special. Yeah, that it's a one of a kind type of deal or whatever. So when those things are out on social media, it piques everybody's interest, and you're like, oh, what is this? Something special? I have to have this, so I need to go there and I need to get it. And while I'm there, I need to have a few pours and maybe pick up something else. And before you know it, you're picking up one bottle turned into
$100 into
$100. I think we've all been there. So
that $15, $20 bottle turns into a $100 evening, which I'm okay with that.
There's nothing wrong with it.
It is what it is. But that's kind of a draw in to say, okay, we've got this, and come on down. This is something special that you're not going to get anywhere else. So it's one of those things where it draws people in, and I think that's great. And those are the types of things that I personally look for. It's like, oh, somebody's birthday's coming up. Oh, let me go to Buttonwoods and get like this bottle. And whatever.
Yeah, it means something.
Fantastic.
And it makes it special. It's
just different. It's not something you can get anywhere else. So it's like, and what about collaborations? Are you guys doing any collaborations?
We are on a constant collaboration train right now. With the new space. So before we had the new brew house, I promised a bunch of people that we could collab once the new brew house came online. So now it's up and running. It's cashing in all those checks. So we are brewing a collab with Pivotal on Tuesdays. We are so we just did a collab with Fox Farm.
Oh yeah.
This will be released after, but we're doing a tap takeover on the 30th with them. So we have a liquor license, so we're allowed to bring in outside beers.
That's awesome.
And so that's been a lot of fun. And then what else?
I love our farm. They're a nice job right down there in the woods in Connecticut.
Wonderful human beings to visit.
Got to go. A lot of dunkles and a lot of fun beers, and it's a little hard.
So we've done one collab with Crafted Hope Brewing over in East Greenwich. We had 3 dudes in a brew. We have another collaboration coming up. We're not going to tell you who just yet, but we have another collab coming. So keep us in mind. Maybe we'll figure something out. So, but I want to thank you again so much for your time this morning.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been absolutely great. It was fantastic beers.
Guys, before we wrap up, I just want to remind, this is going to be showing in February, right?
Yes.
During the month of February, between the 1st and the 25th, you'll be able to buy Mark Ambrose Bingo's cards. You can find them at locations like this. Oh, hold on. I'm going to get a flight. We're
coming. Like magic. Look at this.
Like magic. It just appears on screen. You scan the VR code, it takes you to the Eventbrite page where you'll be able to buy tickets, i.e. bingo cards like these right here, where you'll find places like this. Buttonwoods Brewery right here on the bingo card. You come to this location throughout the month of March. Bingo goes live March 1st. You'll be able to take a picture, take a selfie with Mark Ambrose as your marker and any straight bingos. Okay.
Yeah, I see what you did there.
No free beer, all on the marker for the bingo. And the first person to get the bingo splits the pot of the ticket sales 50-50 with the Ronald McDonald House, which is, of course, is Mark's charity. So please, guys, check it out. Come down to Buttonwoods Brewery, have some of their delicious beers, scan the VR code, buy as many tickets as you want, because that's as many bingo cards as you'll get. We'll send them to you randomly throughout the month of February. Provide your contact information, and you'll get them. So for Morgan, for Ed Padnord, for Costa St. Rowley, it's me, Buddy Thayer, and this has been another episode of Three Dudes Brews. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. It's always a pleasure. Cheers. Cheers. Drink local.
Wow.